All right, so we're back here on another Washington Football Guys podcast. What's going on, Rob?
Another Friday. I'm excited to talk about some Washington football. Again, another week, another day closer to training camp. I cannot be more excited.
Absolutely, man. I got my countdown clock right at it. We got 4 more days. We're Tyler Henneke away from
Yep.
from from the training camp here in my backyard here in Richmond, Virginia. Then also we got 20 days to preseason. A little Jimmy Moreland.
Yep.
20 more days to our first preseason game, which I cannot wait. In 3 weeks from tonight, we're gonna break down our win over the New England Patriots in game one of the preseason. I cannot wait. We're gonna be breaking down an actual game 3 weeks from today.
I know. It seems like it's been so long, but it really hasn't. I mean, it's only since February that we stopped talking about football together.
Right, right. And like you said, it's to a point in like with training camp just days away. And they'll be in our backyard, my backyard here in Richmond, Virginia. So definitely try to see if I can get out there either Wednesday or Thursday. I'll keep everybody on notice, and maybe we'll do a little, do a little report and do a little content out there while we out there, kind of give them a little exclusive.
Yep.
So without that further said, so Rob, let's get into our first topic of tonight. Oh, well, first, before we get in our first topic, we got to pay some bills. So definitely huge shout out to this week's Washington Football Guys podcast. It's brought to you by the good folks at MyBookie. So go to mybookie.com where they match up to 50% of your first deposit and up to $1,000. That is the largest bonus in the industry. Also, the highest credit card accepting rates, fast 48-hour payout processing. Use our promo code off the ball. Let's win big. Promo code mybookie.com, promo code off the ball. So Rob, so we get ready to head to Richmond. The boys are headed back to Richmond. The 2020 NFC East champion Washington football team is headed to Richmond. So what are the position battles that you're watching going to training camp?
So I'm not going to cheat here because everybody knows quarterback is the number one position you want to look at. Even though we went and signed Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's still, as far as Ron Rivera says, it's still an open competition. I'm excited to see how the DBs play out. Which DB gets that DB1 spot? Is it Kendall Fuller? Is it a William Jackson who we just signed from Cincinnati? Also, what happens at the free safety position? Is Cam Curl gonna carry on what he had last year? Or is the bona fide superstar that we have there, depending on who you ask, Landon Collins, is he going to step up? He's coming off an Achilles tear, which is one of the harder injuries to come back from. That and obviously an ACL tear. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays, how he warms up, see if his explosiveness is still there. There were a lot of talks of him moving to maybe linebacker, outside linebacker, because Cam Curl had such a great rookie season. But as far as we can tell, that's pretty much off the table now. So maybe they'll move one of them over to strong safety and keep the other at free. Yeah. The running back position, it interests me a little bit only because I'm still, again, I've said this time and time again, I'm still not completely sold on Antonio Gibson. I don't think he's really that dude right now. And I've said why. His big games last year were all against really, really bad defenses. 2 of them came against the Cowboys, and that was a historically bad defensive team. So I don't know if he's really as good as we think he is. I hope he is. I hope he's even better. The linebacking battle, that group right there, only interests me because that's our weak point. Yeah. And we have such a strong, solid defense. We have the front four. We have our DB. We got stronger at the DB position at corner. We have an embarrassment of riches at the safety position now. The linebacking core is what killed us in a lot of games last year. So, with the drafting of Jamin Davis, how he fits in. Is he going to be that middle linebacker? You know, who do they put around him? Cole Holcomb. Obviously, he played great last year. I think John Bostic is still with us.
Yeah, he still with us. Yep.
So you see what we do with him. So I'm really going to be interested in the linebacker core. That battle, and it's not even really a battle. It's just going to see who ends up where and how that group fits. How that group fits in with the rest of the defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think mine's gonna be QB2. Mine's more so of who's gonna be the backup. Even though Rob, you said it from the jump, there isn't a QB2 controversy.
There's not.
I'm telling you, I'm still gonna put. I'm gonna put out. I'm not saying I'm gonna put all my chips in for Kyle Allen, but I'm gonna put maybe if I had 100 chips, I'd throw maybe about 5 chips in for a possibility for Kyle Allen. I don't know if it's 100% Taylor Heineke's spot at QB2 potentially. So that's going to be interesting who's going to be QB2 of this team, because I think essentially, like you say, and this is just NFL folklore, not folklore, but it's just honest to goodness truth. You're just as good as your backup quarterback. So who fills in that QB2 spot is definitely can be, it could have a significant impact on this team going forward. The wide receiver 3 slide, Adam Humphries on my nephew Damani Brown.
Yep.
That's going to be definitely interesting. I think that just that whole wide receiver core, that depth that we have, which is funny. Like we said, that's a position almost an embarrassment of riches when you look at it from the standpoint of how we kind of built that as we flew. You know, this is kind of the depth that we kind of acquired in the short period of time that we've had these guys, and we're gonna talk about this. And I think I want to say about 4 or 5 weeks from now, we're gonna talk about one of these guys from this wide receiver, from this depth chart of wide receivers that won't be on this team, and we're gonna be like shocked. So like I can imagine us probably about 5-6 weeks from now, right before Labor Day, when cuts are made, you think, oh man, like, oh, this person gone, like it's gonna be a shocker.
I can see that, but just because of how deep we are at wide receiver, I think it's pretty much a given that somebody who we don't expect is no longer going to be on the team. You know, he's going to be playing for a different team week 1 of the season. As long as they don't stay in the NFC East, I'm fine with it.
I know, right? Don't be like Philly. Don't get Ryan Kerrigan or Nate. Oh, remember Nate Sudfeld?
Nate Sudfeld.
Oh my! I hated the Eagles for that, but then luckily it worked out in our favor this year. So you shout out to Nate, senior night in Philadelphia. We'll take that. But then the other position, the strong safety. You talked about it earlier too, as far as we look at Cam Curl and Landon Collins, which it was another thing where I remember the injury to Landon Collins in the season, and it felt like an impending doom, honestly. Like, oh man, we losing one of our best guys on defense, especially from the safety spot, from the backfield, defensive backfield. And you're like, oh man, who's gonna step up? But then Cam Curl, he was a guy that stepped up for us tremendously, especially in that San Francisco game. And what was another one where he returned one back? Was it against?
It was against Philly.
Philly, yeah, it was against Philly, and then Philly, and then the San Francisco game in Arizona. So
yeah.
But yeah. So I think with that, like, him coming in his second year and what Landon Collins is going to do. And the beauty thing with Landon Collins, he's, like you said, you can put him at free safety if you want. You can do he's very versatile. So that's the situation where you're like, they're going to put him somewhere there. He's an interchangeable part of this defense. So that's kind of a good thing to have him on top of Cameron Curl. So those are the kind of the 3 matches that I'm looking forward to as far as the position battles going into training camp. But yeah, But yeah, I'm telling you that QB2 spot.
I need to speak on that because look, man. Kyle Allen doesn't even deserve to be on an NFL team. he just doesn't. The QB2 spot is it's there's no battle. There should not be. I'll say that there should not be a battle. He has a puncher's chance in a sense that he's on the roster as of right now and he's going to training camp. So obviously anything can happen. Taylor Heinicke could go down with an injury and have no choice but to keep the garbage, lackluster, poor excuse of a quarterback that we call Kyle Allen on the team. But outside of that, and also he's a Ron Rivera guy.
Yep.
So that in and of itself gives him an upper hand over Heinicke as well. I believe that if they go in and have basically the same exact training camp, and Ron Rivera is dead set on only keeping one backup, it's going to be Kyle Allen, just because again he played well for him in those first 6 games of the season back in 2017, I think it was, when Cam went down. Outside of that, he's once we saw what kind of quarterback he truly was, he's not. And
we actually remember we beat him in 19.
We did.
We got him fired. That railroad victory in 2019 that we had.
Yeah. Beat Kyle Allen, got Ron Rivera fired.
Yeah, and he's now here.
8 weeks later, he was with us.
Yeah. So, Rob, what are the storylines to watch coming into this season?
It has to be the quarterback. What is Fitz going to do? What kind of Fitz are we going to get? Also, Taylor Heinicke. What is that 15 pounds of muscle going to do for him? Is it going to give him that rocket arm that he could possibly have, get the ball down the field with the type of receivers we have? Is he going to crumble? Was that one game just a flash in the pan? That one where nobody has, and I'm a big advocate of, you can't base somebody off of one game that a team has no film on. I've said it time and time again. When a quarterback who there's no pro film on comes in a game and plays well, everybody thinks, oh my God, this is it. We found our guy. We've been through that multiple times, us personally. I think you can count on one hand how many times that has actually worked out. And one of them is the greatest quarterback of all time in Tom Brady. Went down, played really well, and people were like, oh, this guy might be legit. And turns out he was. But what kind of quarterback is Taylor Heinicke going to be? How soon will Ron Rivera cut Kyle Allen? Will it be day 1, day 2? Anything past day 2 is unacceptable. And I'm excited to see the even though it's not really going to be a storyline, they're just going to be the center of attention because how dominant they are expected to be this year is that defensive line. That front four, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, what are they going to be looking like? And I feel like I kind of feel like they're going to be paid extra attention to, in a sense that, normally we look at quarterbacks and, the way they throw, how their chemistry with the receivers. I feel like this defensive line is going to be critiqued like nobody else. They're to the point of they're going to see, oh, well, on that one, that one rep, Montez Sweat had his hand on his knees. Is he in shape? Is he committed? I think they're going to get that type of scrutiny just because they're expected to be so damn dominant this season.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. So I got 3 kind of storylines. Obviously, like your point, Rob, the heightened expectations. We talk about this often. You had certain teams, certain analysts have us as the top defense in the league. Like you said, that defense is going to be picked apart every week. So if there's like any type of struggle or what have you, it's going to be amplified. People, almost like it's almost going to be like this, kind of like how last year was. Because remember, against Philly, we had the 8 sacks and everybody was like, "Oh, y'all didn't get 8 sacks this week." No, it's not going to happen every week.
Right.
So I remember that, and that used to piss me off with people. It's like, well, y'all know y'all not going to get 8 sacks every night. Yeah, that's life. Like, you're not going to get the same result every time you do something in life. Like, so that's the thing that used to kill me with that. And it's like, so the expectations, I think, is going to be the big key one. And then, what type of Fitzpatrick are we going to get? Are we going to get the one, like we always talk about, are we going to get the hot hand of him? Or we're going to get like the cold hand of him? So looking at that. And then let's just be real. Let's just address the elephant in the room. And it's something I kind of want to shy away. I know we 5 episodes in, but I think the pandemic is one of the biggest issues. And I think this is not even just an NFL thing. It's more than just a Washington football team thing. It's an NFL thing, especially with the mandate that the memo that was sent to NFL teams yesterday about essentially if an unvaccinated player creates an outbreak on your team and they can't reschedule it, the team at fault is going to be forfeited, and then also they'll lose money. And the first thing I thought about was our situation last year, because even though we were fine, we had 2 situations that affected us. Obviously, the Pittsburgh thing, which that's another thing too, where we were inadvertently, put in a position to play on a Monday afternoon versus being on a Saturday at 1:00. A Sunday at 1:00. And then the following week we were affected because really that was the Baltimore Ravens situation where it kind of trickled the Thanksgiving situation. Yep. Then they moved it to that Wednesday. So the earliest possible was on Monday. Then with us, remember, like we talked about it earlier about playing the 49ers in Arizona, because San Francisco the county in San Francisco that Levi Stadium is, they couldn't host Santa Clara. They couldn't host any type of outdoor sporting event for like 3 weeks or whatever. So then that forced us to go to Arizona versus San Francisco. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing, because if you look at it from the standpoint of that's going to divide some people's locker room. Like I'm starting to see that now, even with Jerry Hughes Jr. and Cole Beasley, sleazy Beasley. I used to call him as a former Dallas Cowboy. He kind of I didn't like that guy for a while, but you look at now, even they had somewhat of a rift today on Twitter. So I'm thinking to myself, that's the thing where I think we talk about football more so like from the X's and O's standpoint, but this is also another layer that could potentially rear its ugly head as the season persists. So that's why another thing you look at, this is how this is really going to affect, because even like with us, we were no fault of our own, but we had situations where we had to not postpone, but on the verge of being postponed. I mean, we had like pretty much had to be flexible in our schedule, which you look at that as like, if like, especially when it comes down to like, you look at like how we were last year, just imagine if, because we played the final game in the regular season. We were the final game of the regular season. So you look at it from the standpoint of if you have to forfeit, and obviously with a loss, how that's going to affect the team if this happens. So I think it's just going to be a situation where I think it's going to be. I think that's where I think you look at the leadership of this team is really going to go far. That's why I think that's why I'm glad we have leadership in place, where I think we'll be able to handle it from a Washington football team perspective. I'm just more so worried about the league itself. Yeah. Like as far as our opponents potentially, because I think Ron Rivera can handle it. And I think they handled it very well, even in that season last year. So even last season, I think they was able to handle it, because I think it was only one person that got it, and that was like in the beginning of the season, but it was no outbreak. So so I think that's going to be the elephant in the room. Something I kind of wanted to shy away from, because I feel like I'm not saying like it's going to be impending doom or anything, but it's something that you really kind of got to look at that could definitely be a hindrance on the season potentially.
Yeah, it's tricky because certain people feel certain ways about the vaccine. You already have big names already contemplating retirement over a vaccine. Which I mean, to me, it blows my mind. I will never understand it, but hey, to each his own.
Yep.
But yeah, I can see it causing a lot of problems through other teams. But like you said, I think Ron Rivera will be able to handle it and navigate those seas as the best that he can. But it is going to be interesting to see how it affects other teams, if it does affect other teams, and just the domino effect, because we saw it happen last year, like you said, with the Ravens. Games kept getting postponed, and I can't remember the span that they played 3 games in, but it was 3 games in a very, very, very short period of time. And then down to like the last, that's the game that RG3 played in against the Steelers.
Yeah.
And I think he almost beat them.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens if anything does happen. If any games do get forfeited, I think that'd be very, very interesting. And there's going to be a lot of butthurt fans if that ever happens.
Yeah.
If that were to happen, and that's how a team makes the playoffs. If that's how a team wins the division over another team, is because your players didn't want to get vaccinated and had a forfeited game. Then, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but I think our team is going to be just fine with that.
Yeah, and I agree with you with that too. Like you said, and not to, no pun intended, but not to inject my personal feelings on it. But like you said, it's just going to be a situation where, hey, it's a personal decision. It's on you. And like you said, and even we look at even now with the 2 coaches that were let go today, the 2 positional coaches.
Yep.
So, I think, this is going to be one of those things where it's like, I think it's just going to be a very, very interesting, season, as far as how that's concerned. But I mean, like you said, we'll cross that bridge when we get here. Hopefully we won't have any incidents or what have you. But like you said, we'll cross it when we get here. We can address the elephant in the room, but hey, we ain't gonna worry about it until the elephant is actually in the bedroom or in the locker room. I'll put it this way. So Rob,
let's get to the good stuff.
Yes. So we all know, even though we Football Centric podcast, everybody in America knows that there's a new expansion team in the NHL, the Seattle Kraken. So they had an expansion draft. So I thought to myself, what if the NFL had an expansion draft and said, for instance, you had so what we did, we comprised a list of 5 guys who we would save from being drafted in an expansion draft. So I guess what we do, we go. I did like 5. So as far as I do your number 5, I do number 5, 4, and go down that list. From there. So who is your number 5 guy that you would save?
So a lot of people are going to make fun of me for this, but just based on the decision, the circumstances that we as a team are in right now, and if the expansion draft were to be this season with the current roster we have, I'm protecting Fitz. I think we have I think we have a great team around him that, he's going to be a vital piece. He's going to be a vital piece of this team. And I think he will take us a lot further than Heineke can right now. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely slap that protection on him.
So mine's, so I have a 3-way tie, and I'm just gonna break it. So the guy who I'm gonna keep is gonna be Jamie Davis.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna keep the Ron Rivera clone potentially, the Thomas Davis clone. I'm looking at it from the future standpoint, so I'm going to take the Thomas Davis clone potentially and Jamie Davis.
I like it. Just because he's a young player, but I mean, right now I haven't seen what he can do. He may end up being a bust. I hope not, but I just think I do like it still. I won't hate it.
Yeah, because a part of me is like, because I had Jimmy Moreland in that one because I think he's gonna be good. I think who was it? Landon Collins said once he knows what he's doing, he's gonna be unstoppable.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be between those two, but I picked Jamin Davis. Who you got number 4, Rob?
So number 4, I had a tie. It was the same position. I just was trying to decide which one I wanted more. So I went with Kyle Fuller. Right here is between him and William Jackson. Kyle Fuller just knows the defense a little bit better.
Yeah,
you know, he's been in the system for a full year. He played really well last year, especially when he was the slot corner. I mean, he really thrived while he was covering the slot guy. So I'm slapping that protection on Kyle Fuller. Kendall or Kyle? I forget which one we had. There's like 7 of them.
Yeah, I think
it's Kendall. It's Kendall.
It's Kendall. Yeah, because I remember I said he's the Kylie Jenner of the Fuller family. Yeah, he's the one that's gonna make the headlines. The billionaire, the self-made, quote unquote. Like he'll be the one that everybody talk about as far as the flock of brothers. Yeah. And I was right. he's a Kylie Jenner of the Fuller family. So number 4, I got your boy Cameron Curl.
Okay.
I got Cameron Curl. I'm on the Cameron Curl train.
I wanted to put him on my list, but I was thinking about putting him there at 5.
Yeah.
But again, we still have Landon Collins, and that's not a bad backup.
Because I'm looking at like these guys, like they could be the face of an expansion of this team.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if I want to part ways with somebody who I think could be good down the road.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, number 3, Rob, who you got?
Sure. Number 3, I got our boy Scary Terry. Gotta keep him. Can't let him go.
Yeah.
There's no explanation needed. I don't need to elaborate, explain why I want to keep him. It's Terry McLaurin. We're keeping him 100%.
Yeah, you don't even have to wax poetically on that one. We all know, like, hey, shoot, like he's there. Number 3 is Montez Sweat. I got Montez, yes. Like you said, it's another one where you look at him and Chase Young on that. So you're not gonna get double teamed. Somebody you gonna double team Chase, he could be free. He's gonna be there. So either or, you need him there anyway. So to me, give me Chase. I'm not Chase Young, but give me Montez Sweat as my number 3.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I actually put him at number 2. I got Sweat at number 2. Same reasons, because he's that duo, that whole line. I almost put the whole line at 1 through 4.
Yeah.
But I figure we need to keep a little bit of we need to keep some offensive power too. But yeah, Sweat again, no explanation needed. It's Montez Sweat. We're keeping him.
Yeah. So my number 2 is So my number 2, Terry McLaurin. Like you got to keep him. He's like you said. There's you have a 1,000-yard receiver and on a rookie deal. You got to keep him. Like that's just like I said. It's a no-brainer.
I think the thing with Terry McLaurin is I think in the next 2 years he could very well be the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah,
you figure he's had the success that he's had in, I want to say it's been 3 years in the league with Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, Alex Smith, Taylor Heineke. Like no matter what quarterback is there, dude balls out. So if you just get a consistent quarterback play, just a little bit, somebody like Ryan Fitzpatrick, dude is gonna be close to. I want to say he could probably get 1,500 to 1,700 yards in a season.
Yeah, and he's that elusive. And like you said, then that's the thing about it. Once we get once we literally get legitimate, consistent quarterback play, you can cancel Christmas on the account of Terry McLaurin. Like,
yeah, it's scary. No pun intended.
Right. And it can be like the potential itself And like you said, he's already had more than three quarterbacks. But you got to think to yourself, like, just imagine if he getting a consistent quarterback, which I think, like you said, and then he got a guy that got a deep ball like Fitzpatrick. I mean, it could be like bombs away.
Right. And now he actually has legit help. Not to bag on any previous receivers that were in that core with him, but Cam Sims is great. Steven Sims, he's good at times, but they're no Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel taking that attention off of Terry McLaurin could be huge for him, or vice versa. The attention on Terry McLaurin will be huge for Curtis Samuel, and then throw a healthy Adam Humphries in there. Oof. This offense has a potential to be the best in the league. We could very well, as long as Ryan Fitzpatrick learns to take care of the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen because this isn't Cruise Island. I'm not going to go out and say this will be the case. But on paper, we have the potential to be the number one defense and the number one offense, if not at least a top 5 offense in the league.
Fire up the boat,
Hey, like I'm trying to keep my expectations relatively like even. I'm not trying to get too high, but just again, looking at it on paper, we know the receiver Terry McLaurin is. He's proven it with 6 different quarterbacks in his 3 years.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel, same thing. He's played great, whether it's Cam Newton, garbage Kyle Allen, or whoever their quarterback was last year. Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy B, yep.
He's produced. He's a good wide receiver. Adam Humphries, when he was in Tennessee, he had that breakout season. Oh, I'm sorry. He had the breakout season in Tampa, which I believe was with Ryan Fitzpatrick, or it might have been the year before he got there. Had the breakout year in Tampa, went to Tennessee to be that dude, got hurt, and then A.J. Brown showed up. And unfortunately, A.J. Brown, he'll take damn near anybody's spot outside of Julio Jones, which is now on the same team as him. So having all that together with our running game, not just Antonio Gibson, because again, I'm not completely sold on him, but having him, J.D. McKissick, Peyton Barber, that whole running back room that we have, our line is good enough. Our line isn't great. It's not, like a Dallas Cowboys, as much as it pains me to say it, a Dallas Cowboy offensive line back in 2014, 2015. When they were giving, people like DeMarco Murray, getting him huge contracts. They have the potential on paper. If everything clicks, if everything goes right, we're looking at a top 5 offense, maybe top 7. And without a doubt, you got to think a top 2 defense.
Yeah. I don't even think this is a Cruz Allen special. I think it's rooted in truth.
Right.
It's rooted in facts and the seeing eye. So, but so I guess we already know who's gonna be the number one guy. I mean, we already know it's unanimous.
I mean, Chase we both Young. Have Kyle Allen at oh. I'm just fine. Yeah, of course it's Chase Young.
You sound like me. I was like, whoa.
Maybe if I had an XFL team, I'd keep Kyle Allen, maybe, but not an NFL team. Yeah, number one, absolutely Chase Young. There's no question. He's the heart and soul of that defense. Became a captain after 13 weeks in the league.
Yep.
After Dwayne Haskins, ruined that opportunity for himself. And speaking of which, I hope he does. I hope he's okay. Yeah. He had that incident last week with his wife. I hope everything's well with him. I hope he's learning from Ben Roethlisberger. I hope he becomes a great quarterback one day, and I hope we beat him in the Super Bowl in a few years. I wouldn't be mad at that. But yes, Chase Young, without a doubt. You look at the type of not just the player, but the person Chase Young is. When Taylor Heineke dove for that pylon, got that touchdown against Tampa, the first person there was Chase Young, pointing to his back, saying, "That's my guy. That's my quarterback." And it low-key reminded me of the Terrell Owens when people always talk crap about Tony Romo, and he's at the press conference crying, "That's my quarterback, man." Saying, obviously not the crime, but the same vibes of "that's my quarterback." Yep. No matter who is on the team, Chase Young is going to support them 100%. He's going to give them his all. And to have anybody other than Chase Young at that number one spot to protect, you're playing yourself.
Yeah. He's, even in the short period of time, he's the face of our franchise. I'm telling you, the moment I knew he was a Washington football guy, no pun intended.
Yes, pun intended.
Pun intended. Yeah, we gotta stop being humble. But it's got to be in that Cleveland game where he was out and he had the groin injury, and the crazy thing about it, I just loved how engaged he was. Like, to me, and it's not no slight to any player, but it's no player, no slight on any other player. But most guys who are just in street clothes and active, they're not really kind of like, going over to players like he was each possession. It felt like he was in a huddle with them, had the tablet and everything. So I just love the fact that he's that involvement, even though he couldn't participate on the field. That lets me know you're a leader. And I think, like, even situations like when Joe Burrow got hurt, he was one of the first ones on the field to kind of, wish his former teammate, his former Ohio State teammate, some love. And just, he's like literally is the face of this franchise. He's a guy, we haven't had a guy like this in quite some time, where we know for a definitive fact we have a player that fits this personality, this football team. Like, he is literally a leader. He's out the box was a leader to me, like from the jump. Like, I've never seen on this team, as far as from day one, has became this type of leader, like on and off the field. Like, he's literally our face of our franchise, and he's only 22 years old.
Yeah. I think he's the perfect representation of Ron Rivera.
Yep.
And who truly is an extension of him. So, like, if Ron Rivera, and it's like, the thing I equate it to, is being in the military, we have a chain of command. So, like, if my E7 tells me something to tell my junior guys, if I'm saying it, it's coming from them up there. It's coming from the people above me. And it's the same thing. I feel like it's the same thing. If Chase Young goes out to the team, says, "Hey, we need to get our stuff together," it's basically coming from Ron Rivera. It's as if Ron is saying it, and they need to listen to it. They need to do whatever it takes to get to whatever their stuff is that they need to get together. They need to get it together. And there's nobody else I would want leading this defense or this team other than Chase Young.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, he's like you said, he's the heart and soul of our defense. He's a guy that, regardless, you're gonna always see him engaged. He's always, that's the thing that's what I like about players. Like, I like ones that are always engaged, even though he couldn't participate on the field, but he was highly engaged and just motivating those guys. Like, even in that Carolina game, he was giving Tyler some, just giving him some love, like that. Yeah. Remember that fourth, that was like 4th and long, when he went in the huddle.
Yeah,
kind of show him some love. So I like those type of things. And those are like the type of intangibles that you can't teach. Like, this is not a situation where you have to, oh man, we got to teach you how to do this. No, he did this on his own, and he's a bona fide leader. And like you said, he's a perfect fit. He's like an extension of the coach on the field. So
exactly.
Yeah, and so most definitely. So, Raw, man, let's put a ball in this week's Washington Football Guys podcast. Social media, upcoming projects, what you got? And also final thoughts as well.
Final thoughts: Kyle Allen does not deserve a spot on any NFL team, let alone mine. He's not QB 2, 3, or 4, or 22 for that matter. Kyle Allen needs to be gone. But other than that, you already know where you can find me. FNC Pod on Twitter, Football and Chill Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Don't have really a lot of big projects coming up. I've started to get ready for. I got a little thing with the Podfather Jeff Hunt. We're gonna be talking some college football. I'm gonna try to cover the Pac-12 as unbiased as I possibly can, because we all know USC is gonna come out on top of that conference and make a run at that national championship. with Keaton Slovis, the most inaccurate quarterback in college football right now.
Yeah.
What else I got going on? Nothing really. Cruz Island hasn't been here last couple of weeks. Been going through some stuff, some family stuff. But this Wednesday gonna be back. The NCAA still sucks. I won't talk about that though. But gonna be talking about definitely be talking about the potential loss of big name players due to the vaccine guidelines that the NFL put out. You know, DeAndre Hopkins is considering retiring because of it. So I'm definitely going to be talking about that. Other than that, you know, just be on the lookout. We got, like Coach said, we got training camp coming up, so we're definitely going to be covering that. I'm definitely going to be covering it more than I usually do, more than I have in the past, more from an analytical standpoint than maybe a fan. I'm excited for that. It's my first time doing it, so I'm definitely hyped for that.
Yeah. Once again, you know, check me out on Couch Coach Live. Actually, I'm doing a Power 5 preview, college football Power 5 preview with our guy Zach McKinnell of the Blue Bloods podcast. So we're doing the Pac-12 actually this Saturday, tomorrow. Then we're gonna do the Big 12, and we're just going down to the SEC pretty much. All Power 5 conferences. We'll do that. Then we'll do our NFL preview, Couch Coach Live NFL previews. I think we're gonna start that on August the 4th. August the 4th. Yeah, because yep. So August the 4th, we'll do 2 divisions each week. So we'll start with the NFC and the AFC West, and then end it off, I think, September 1st. And I don't know, we're going to do either the North or the East of the conferences. So we got that lined up. And then I'll also watch the football cast. We'll be churning out some content during, you know, preseason. Man, I'm telling you, I cannot wait till we break down a game. Like, I cannot wait. Like, I'm like, August the 12th. I might, hell, even though the game ain't gonna start at 7 o'clock, I might take the day off.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
I'm serious. I might take the day. I'll at least get a half a day in.
Yeah.
Or something. Because I'm like, my mind is not, I'm thinking like, what's wrong? My mind is not here. Like, I'm like, look, I have mentally checked out. Like, on August the 12th at midnight, once the clock strike midnight on Thursday, August the 12th, I am in game mode.
Yeah. Exactly.
I am in official game mode. I don't care if the game starts at 7, 8 or whatever. And when the clock strikes midnight, I'm focusing this game.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm gonna be writing reports and talking about Cal Allen. Per previous email, Cal Allen said, "Oh no, they ain't Cal. Oh man, let me stop." But yeah, man, I definitely cannot wait. So yeah, man. Once again, this has been this week's Watch That Football Guys podcast. We'll catch you guys next week.